Welcome to Grade 8 MTAP Review. I am Mr. Live Anga and subscribe for more videos. It's all about the 2016 elimination round in school level. So we'll start with number 1. Simplify a minus b squared times a plus b squared plus 2a squared b squared. So the solution is, as we know that we have the same exponent for a minus b and a plus b, that means we can combine them. And we have a minus b times a plus b, and by combining that terms of that binomial, we multiply, you've got a squared minus b squared. Copy, we have the exponent of 2 plus 2a squared b squared. And by simplifying again by the law of exponent or by multiplying, so you've got a to the fourth minus 2a squared b squared plus b to the fourth plus 2a squared b squared. Since we have different signs, we have the opposite of 2a squared b squared, you've got 0. We can cancel this one. And you've got, we have a to the fourth plus b to the fourth. So the answer for number 1 is a to the fourth plus b to the power of 4. Number 2, simplify 125x to the fourth y cubed all over 25x to the negative 2y to the power of 6. Quantity raised to the power of 1 over 3. So all we need to do is to use the exponent that we know 125 is equal to 5 cubed, and we know that 27 is equal to 3 cubed, and since x to the negative 2 can be transferred, that is x to the power of 2 at the top, and here since 6 is greater than 3, then we've got 6 minus 3 raised to the power of 3. Then by distribution of exponent, by the law of exponent, again we have to multiply, and you've got 5 to the power of 3 over 3 times x raised to the power of 6 times 1/3, that is 6 over 3, all over 3 cubed over 3, and y 6 minus 3, that is 3 over 3, that is equal to 1, and you've got 5x squared over 3y. So the answer for number 2 is 5x squared over 3. Number 3, solve for x in the equation x to the fourth minus 5x squared plus 4 equals 0. So the best way to solve this one is we're going to use factoring, because positive 4 has a factors of negative 1 and negative 4, and the sum is negative 5, which is the middle. So you've got x squared minus 1 and x squared minus 4. And by the product property, when we equate that to 0, that means we have x squared minus 1 equal to 0, or the x squared minus 4 is equal to 0. Then we can have the addition property of equality, that x squared equals 1 or x squared equals 4. By square root property, you've got x equals positive negative square root of 1, or x equals positive negative square root of 4, and the square root of 1 is 1, square root of 4 is 2. You've got x equals positive negative 1 or x equals positive negative 2. So that means our x, we have 4 values, positive 1, negative 1, positive 2, and 3. Next, we have number 4. In the arithmetic sequence, 10 plus 10 square root of 3, 11 plus 9 square root of 3, and 12 plus 8 square root of 3, and so on. What term has no square root of 3? So we know that there is a square root of 3 at the second term, and this one is an arithmetic sequence. Since this is an arithmetic sequence, therefore there is a constant difference, and a constant difference can be drawn from the second minus the first. So you've got 11 plus 9 square root of 3 minus 10 plus 10 square root of 3, which equals our difference. So 11 minus 10, that is 1, and 9 square root of 3 minus 10 square root of 3, that is negative 1 square root of 3, and that is 1 minus square root of 3. That is our constant difference. And we know that this one is n term, then we have to use the equation a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d as an arithmetic sequence. And we know that a sub 1 is equal to 10 plus 10 square root of 3, and n minus 1 times d, which is 1 minus square root of 3. So by knowing this a sub n, we've got to look at the square root of 3. Why? Because by that we can find who cannot have a square root of 3. And by that, to have no square root of 3, we focus on 10 square root of 3 plus n minus 1 times negative 1 square root of 3. Why? Because 10 and n minus 1 times 1 are all integers. So that means we have to focus on 10 square root of 3 and n minus 1 times negative square root of 3. So to simplify that one, you have n times negative square root of 3 and negative 1 times negative square root of 3. By simplifying, you've got 10 square root of 3 minus n square root of 3 plus 1 square root of 3, which is equivalent to a factorable square root of 3 times 10 minus n plus 1. And 10 plus 1 is equals to 11, 11 minus n. And since square root of 3 is 11 minus n, and to have no square root of 3, it means that multiplier of square root of 3 must be 0. So we have to equate 11 minus n to 0, and therefore n is equal to 11. That means this one has no square root of 3 when it is at the 11th term. So the answer is n equals 11 or the 11th term. So next we have number 5. If x plus y equals 12 and xy equals 50, what is x squared plus y squared? So there is a connection or relation between the x plus y equals 12 and the x squared plus y squared. And we know that when we squared x plus y both sides, you get x plus y squared is equal to 12 squared. And simplifying this one, you've got x squared plus 2x squared plus y squared is equals to 12 squared. And then we have x squared plus y squared, and that means we can use the addition property of equality. That means x squared plus y squared is equals to 12 squared minus 2xy, and we know xy is equal to 50 by substitution. You've got 12 squared, minus 2 times 50, and 144 minus 100 is equals to 44. Therefore, the sum x squared plus y squared is equal to 44. Number 6. What is the sum of the first 10 terms of the geometric sequence? We got 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, and so on. So, solution, we have to know that the geometric sequence has a constant ratio, which is the second divided by the first. So the second is 8 and the first is 4. You've got 8 over 4, which is equal to 2. And we know that the sum of this definite geometric sequence is equal to a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1 all over r minus 1. We know that a sub 1 is equal to 4 and r is equal to 2 and n is equal to 10. Then we can substitute. We got 4 times 2 to the power of 10 minus 1 all over 2 minus 1. And we know that 2 to the power of 10 is 1024. Therefore, 1024 minus 1, that is 1023 all over 1 times 4. And you've got 4 times 1023, that is 4092. Therefore, the sum of the first 10 terms of the geometric sequence 4, 8, 16, and so on is 4092. Now let's proceed to number 7. If the product of two consecutive odd integers is 783, what is the sum of their squares? Suppose x is even, and therefore x minus 1 and x plus 1 are odd. Therefore, we have the product of x minus 1 times x plus 1 is equals to 783, which means by multiplying x minus 1, x plus 1, we got x squared minus 1, and you've got x squared minus 1 is equals to 783, leaving us with x squared is equals to 783 plus 1, which is 784. And what is the sum of the squares? When we say sum of the squares, that means this 1 squared plus x plus 1 squared, which is equivalent, of course, when we are going to simplify this one, that is equivalent to x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus x squared plus 2x plus 1, which is equivalent to 2x squared plus 2. And we know that x squared is equals to 274, therefore we can substitute the x squared, which is 784 times 2 plus 2, and that is equal to 1568 plus 2, that is 1570. Therefore, the sum of the squares is 1570. Number 8, if r and s are the roots of the equation 2x squared minus 3x plus 4 equals 0, what is 4r squared plus 7rs plus 4s squared? We know that if we have the sum of the roots, we have the product of the roots, we have to use the Vieta's theorem, or we can use this concept that the product of the roots is equal to c over a, which is c is equals to 4 and a is equals to 2. That is 4 over 2, that is equal to 2. That means the product of the roots is equal to 2. And the sum is equal, we have negative of negative 3 all over a, which is 2. We have positive 3 over 2. And when we square that one, why we're going to square that one? Because we are dealing with 4r squared and 4s squared, which is in square. And we have to multiply that one. We've got r plus s squared, that is 3 over 2 squared, which is equivalent to 9 over 4. And by simplifying that one, you've got r squared plus 2rs plus s squared, which is equivalent to 9 over 4. And we know that r squared plus s squared is equivalent to 9 over 4 minus 2rs. And by using this given, what is the value of 4r squared plus 7rs plus 4s squared? We know that can be factored as 4r squared plus s squared. That is the factor of that two terms. And then we have the remaining term plus 7rs, equivalent to 4 times 9 over 4 minus 2r squared plus 7rs. And by distribution of 4, we've got 9 minus 8rs plus 7rs. That is equivalent to 9 minus rs, where rs is equal to 2. Therefore, 9 minus 2 is equal to 7. Therefore, the value of 4r squared plus 7rs plus 4s squared is equal to 7. Number 9. A long wire is cut into 3 smaller pieces in the ratio 7:3:2. If the shortest piece is 16 centimeter, what is the area of the largest rectangle that can be created using the longest piece? Therefore, we have this, we have a pieces of wires. We have 7:3:2 that can be converted into 7x, 3x, and 2x. And if the shortest is 16, that means 2x is equals to 16. And x is equals to 8. And since we are going to use the longest piece, that is 7x, and we have to multiply 7 times 8 because x is 8, and that means we have 56. And therefore, the perimeter of a rectangle is equal to 56. And we know that the largest rectangle with the largest area is always the square, because a square is a rectangle. That means the 4s is equals to 56. Therefore, s is equals to 14. And to find the area of that square, that is s squared, that is 14 squared, which is equivalent to 196 square centimeter. So therefore, the answer is 196 square centimeter. For number 10, a boat takes 2/3 as much time to travel downstream as its time to return. If the rate of the river's current is 8 km per hour, what is the rate of the boat in still water? So the first thing we do is we have now our rate of the river's current. So the water current is 8 km per hour. And the question is, what is the rate of the boat? So let B be the rate of the boat in still water. And if that is going down, that means the rate of the current plus the rate of the boat is added. And if that is going up, it means the rate of the boat minus the current. That means we have the rate of b plus 8 and b minus 8. We know that this problem talks about distance, and we know that distance is equals to rate times time. We also know that a boat takes 2/3 as much time to travel downstream. So it means mas mabilis yung papunta pababa kaysa papunta pataas. It means mas mataas yung time pataas. Therefore, if the T2 stands for the distance 2 that is going downstream, that is equivalent to b plus 8 times t sub 2. And if that is the rate b minus 8 going upstream, that is the distance 1, which equals to b minus 8 times t sub 1, because rate times time. And we know that going up and going down have the same distance. That means we've got b1 is equals to b2. By substitution, we've got b minus 8 times the first t1 is equals to b plus 8 times t2. By substitution, since t2 is equal to 2/3 times t1, you've got b minus 1 t1, b plus 8 times 2/3 t sub 1. Since t sub 1 is not 0, then we can divide t sub 1 both sides. What remains is b minus 8 is equals to b plus 8 times 2/3. By multiplying 3 both sides, we've got 3b minus 24 is equals to 2b plus 16. By addition property of equality, we've got 3b minus 2b is equals to b, which equals to 16 plus 24, which goes to 40 km per hour. That means the rate of the boat in still water is 40 km per hour. So thank you so much. Subscribe for